So Ambassador Akbaruddin, welcome. Thank you so much for talking to us today. On the Kashmir issue, I was wondering if you've met with the Secretary General already or if you have plans to meet with him.
First of all, thank you very much, Margaret, for giving me the opportunity to connect through you to your viewers and listeners in so many different languages. That said, the issue of that you are referring to is perceived by us largely as a counterterrorism issue. And on counterterrorism, there is a UN approach towards handling these matters. So we are in touch with those who handle these matters and try and work out a norm that will ensure that such things are prevented.
So then I wonder then if the reports I've read in the Indian media are correct that Britain and France want to put the leader of GEM on the global terrorist list. Is that something that India is working on through the UN with some support from some of the P5 or something?
Yes, there are many options on the table, but each of these options is aimed at trying to ensure that entities and individuals who need to be proscribed are put on a list, and states who have a responsibility to ensure that they abide by their commitments not to provide sanctuaries and safe havens to such individuals and entities, abide by those commitments rather than look the other way when lives are lost and there is disruption. As you know, in our region, in the last 1 week, 3 of our neighbors have indicated that they have problems emanating from one state in our region which has provided sanctuaries. It doesn't happen very often that one state is indicated as a problem for several of its neighbors, and unfortunately that's been the case here, and we will therefore work in unison with very many countries in the Security Council and beyond it to try and address this issue.
So beyond listing potential terrorists on the list, what would you like to see the UN do to help ease the situation, or would you like to see them investigate the attack that happened, or what would you like to see specifically from the UN, and have you met with the Secretary General?
Again, as I said, the issue is a counterterrorism issue. We would have hoped the preventive aspects were dealt with. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. We've seen coffins go all across India, and there is a sense of deep disquiet and a sense of injury and hurt among large sections of the Indian population. And that has resonated with very many people outside India. You've seen there's been an outpouring of condemnation for that event across the globe. Our idea is to try and use that concern and build on a narrative that ensures that the UN is willing to take actions, swift action, and hold states accountable if they are not able to if they are not able to control terrorists operating with impunity from their territory.
So when you say for the UN to take swift action and hold states accountable if they're not doing what they need to do you mean the UN Secretariat, or do you mean the UN Security Council? Because that sounds to me like you're saying you want the Security Council maybe to put sanctions on some countries or something. So could you be a little more specific?
We are far from that stage, but what we would like as step 1 is a clear condemnation from everybody against such terrorist acts. Number 2, we would like a listing which ensures that the leaders of such entities are also listed and proscribed. Number 3, we would like all states to abide by their commitments, which are enshrined in several Security Council resolutions, and otherwise to abide by what they have professedly said on many occasions. If these acts are taken in a sequential manner, we will see that there will be a perceptible decline in such activities, certainly in our neighborhood. If that happens, it opens up opportunities for further progress on this issue. But that's the key, those three elements that I pointed out, and these are always in the domain of member states.
Ambassador, the Secretary General issued a second statement on Wednesday strongly condemning the attack on your security forces in Pulwama and calling for the perpetrators to be brought to justice. He also urged both the governments of India and Pakistan to exercise maximum restraint to prevent the situation further deteriorating. We've heard some strong rhetoric from your government threatening a jaw-breaking response over the attack. What does India think, what does the Indian government think is the appropriate response for what happened?
So when coffins go back home, these are extremely depressing situations. And in democracies, there is bound to be a revulsion of security personnel being killed in this manner. Also, this is new for us in terms of the methodology used. So obviously, people will react in very many ways. That said, I have listed to you what we want from the international community. Those are specific, those are clear, and those are, we hope, tangible enough for people to respond to.
So then is a military response from India not likely?
Again, I don't know where you have got this specific option that you are listing out. Look at the statements that we've made. Yes, we have said we will respond, and we will respond to what has been an affront on the dignity of our security personnel. But we have listed things that we hope will be taken into account. We are awaiting those responses, and we are a responsible state. It is not our tradition to respond in haste, but respond we certainly will in a manner and in the way that we decide to respond, taking into account how the others have responded to some of our key requests.
Has Prime Minister Modi spoken with Prime Minister Khan in the wake of the attack? Have they spoken directly?
You know, India and Pakistan have huge diplomatic establishments in each other's capitals. So being in touch is not a problem. And we understand each other's language very well. We understand what each other is trying to articulate. Our view has always been for substantive dialogue. We need to stop terror to start talks. And we're looking for that trigger where terrorists stop to move on forward.
So you've articulated what you want the international community to do in terms of those 3 steps of condemnation of terrorism and listing leaders and such. What specifically, other than stopping terrorism, as you just mentioned, what specifically do you want to see from Pakistan related to this incident? Do you want an investigation from them? What do you want from Pakistan related to the incident in Pulwama?
What we want is for Pakistan to abide by its commitments, and those commitments are that the territory of Pakistan will not be used for terrorist activities. Now, look at the last incident that we were talking about in Pulwama. This has been claimed by the Jaish-e-Mohammed. The Jaish-e-Mohammed is a proscribed entity listed by the UN as based in Pakistan. It is quite clear that if they claim it, and nobody has denied it since then, that you need to act against them. So we would like to see tangible action against entity which is proscribed by the UN, which is based in Pakistan, which is claiming that it has attacked and killed 40 Indian security personnel.